Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
All right, everyone, sit down. God. I'm funny, right? I'm pretty funny. A little extra haul. Okay. Mm. Preemptive like. Original link to the video, top of the description right below that. Link to the Discord. Click on it. Send you right over there. Would love to have you. Russian invasion of China. Invasion of China? Oh, to kick out the Japanese. Gotcha. Preemptive like. Operation August Storm, 1945. My name is Connor. I like to learn. Mark Felton, amazing. Let's do it. Okay.
Manchuria is not a name many people are necessarily familiar with today, but in the interwar period and during World War II, it was of vital importance. A coal-rich region of northern China, it is ethnically different, the ancestral lands of the Manchus, horse-riding tribes that had
Guys,
swept...
I have to ask a question. I'm sorry. I have to ask a question. How did Mongolia keep staying a thing? Mainly, how are they not incorporated into either China or the Soviet Union? I'm really wondering how they were able to not fall under that.
importance. A coal-rich region of northern China, it is ethnically different, the ancestral lands of the Manchus, horse-riding tribes that had swept south in 1644 and conquered Ming Dynasty China, populated by the Han people. Establishing themselves in Beijing's Forbidden City, the Manchu emperors, using the dynasty name Qing, had ruled China until the last emperor, Puyi, was deposed in 1912 and China became a republic. The Japanese wanted Manchuria to feed its industrial revolution and military growth, and in 1931, taking advantage of decades of internal disorder in China, snatched the province. Manchuria was a buffer state for the Japanese against the Soviet Union to the north, which it feared also had designs on the region. In 1932, the Japanese renamed Manchuria Manchukuo, and 2 years later made it a puppet empire with a puppet emperor, the former Emperor Puyi of China. By August 1945, Japan was...
Guys, I wonder. So I've gone through a lot of ways, or I've watched a lot of videos about, different ways Germany, like what could Germany have done different to have won World War II? And it doesn't seem good in any scenario, just because of their lack of oil, mainly their lack of oil. But in terms of Japan, I mean, I wonder, like, what if Japan didn't attack Pearl Harbor? If they never attacked Pearl Harbor and just obviously their intention to knock out Pearl Harbor was like a preemptive strike against the US so that they could more comfortably, without worrying about American Navy in the Pacific intervening, which I'm not even positive they would. I'm sure if they took over American areas. But if they could have maybe won the war, Japan. So yeah, I'd be curious to see different scenarios how Japan could have worked out, or if they were a similar thing to Germany and it was only a matter of time.
Later made it a puppet empire with a puppet emperor, the former Emperor Puyi of China. By August 19... in British 5, Japan was almost completely defeated, yet still resisted the US and British Empire forces across Asia. Millions of her troops remained in eastern China and Korea, and a depleted army in Manchukuo. Japan was making peace feelers via the Soviet Union to the US government, when the thing that they had feared most actually happened. The Soviet Union, a neutral nation in the Pacific War, suddenly launched a massive ground attack on Manchuria and northern China. Soviet leader Stalin was making good on a promise that he had made previously to the British and US leaders, that he would attack the Japanese exactly 3 months after Nazi Germany was defeated. Germany had surrendered on the 8th of May 1945, and true to his word, Stalin unleashed his...
I almost wanted to give a salute to Stalin, and I was like, oh, maybe not.
Soldiers on May 1945, and true to his word, Stalin unleashed his soldiers on Manchukuo on the 9th of August 1945. It would prove to be a massive shock to the Japanese and was sandwiched between the atomic bomb attacks on Hiroshima on the 6th of August and Nagasaki later the same day on the 9th. The Soviets attacked using 3 army fronts to the east, west and north of Manchukuo, some 1.5 million Red Army troops facing the much depleted Japanese force totaling about 800,000 troops. Japan having scavenged its armies in China for reinforcements for the Pacific and Southeast Asia campaigns against the Americans and British. For example, Japan only had some 290 inferior quality tanks in the Manchuria region to face over 5,500 Soviet tanks and self-propelled guns. Operating in an area the size of Western Europe. For example, Japan...
I gotta check the comment section. In the video I asked when the first treads were made. So you got these 2 wheel gears here, wheels, like one here to kind of, I'm not sure if it's like a 4-wheel drive or if it's only or a 4 gear drive, and then you got these 2 sets of pivoting double wheels.
And only had some 290 inferior quality tanks in the Manchuria region to face over 5,500 Soviet tanks and self-propelled guns. Operating in an area the size of Western Europe, the Red Army staged a double pincer movement on the Japanese. The western pincer advanced over the deserts and mountains from Mongolia, catching the Japanese by surprise. Though the Japanese had a superb reputation as defensive fighters, commanders soon lost contact with forward units. The Japanese made a stand at Haila and managed to hold out there until the 18th of August 1945. The Soviets' eastern pincer crossed the Ussuri River and overwhelmed strong Japanese resistance. In a week, Red Army forces were deep into Manchukuo. On the 15th of August, Emperor Hirohito made his famous radio address that he was ending the war. The word surrender was deliberately not used. But in Manchuria, the fighting continued. The Soviet advance battled through pockets of Japan, ending the war. The word surrender was deliberately not used. But in Manchuria, the fighting continued. The Soviet advance battled through pockets of Japanese units that either refused to give up or who had not heard the order to surrender. On the 20th of August, the Red Army reached the cities of Mukden, Changchun, and Chichiha. A ceasefire order was then reluctantly sent out by the Japanese High Command, 5 days after Japan had already surrendered to the Western Allies. The Emperor of Manchukuo, Puyi, was captured trying to board a plane to Japan. On the 18th of August, the Soviets staged amphibious landings in northern Korea, the island of South Sakhalin, and the Kuril Islands. The latter 2 would remain Soviet territory after the war. A large part of northern Korea came under Soviet control, with Japanese forces still in control of the southern half of the peninsula. U.S. forces landed at Incheon on the 8th of September 1940.
And that would be the battleground of the first Cold War proxy war, or the first
45, paving the way for the eventual division of Korea into a communist-controlled north and a US-backed south. This present situation a direct result of the Soviet operations in Manchuria in August 1945. The Soviet invasion of Manchuria was a...
I wonder how the Kims got in power.
In August 1945. The Soviet invasion of Manchuria was a contributory factor in forcing Japan's surrender over fears of a Soviet invasion of northern Japan itself. The short campaign also gave Stalin a place at the victor's table when the spoils of war in the Far East were divided up and left Soviet forces in control of a large swathe of northern China, helping to aid Mao Zedong's communist guerrillas in its later operations against the US-backed Chinese nationalists. And of course it led to the creation of a North Korean communist puppet state under Kim Il-sung. So ended the last significant military operation of the Second World War.
That'd be another crazy. So one alternate history would be cool was what if the Japanese didn't attack Pearl Harbor? Because I know the U.S. was extremely reluctant to get into the war, and I'm not sure if anything other than like a direct attack on was Hawaii a state in 1945? I don't think it was. Was it? I forget, but like if they didn't have such a direct attack there, I wonder if they could have conquered more in Asia, in East Asia, Southeast Asia, if they didn't attack Pearl Harbor. That's one thing. And yeah, really interesting video. Mark Felton, always great. Oh, I forgot I had the lecture hall background still. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you learned something or can teach me something in the comments. I'd love to have you over on the Discord as well. Hope you're doing well. If not, chin up. You'll be good soon. Don't worry. See you guys. Bye.